So in this video, we're going to do a short, fun little word association game. So let's get started. Alright, so in this fun little game here, I'm going to give you some names of famous people throughout history, and what I want you to think of is the first word that comes to mind when you hear these names. So you should know all of these, and we'll start with kind of some of the obvious ones. We'll go with Beethoven. Now, for almost everybody, the word that comes to mind is composer. Well, what if I were to say Van Gogh? Well, then the word you're probably thinking of is artist. Or Shakespeare. Then the word is probably playwright. Or I could mention somebody like Da Vinci, in which case there's a lot of things, but the word that usually comes to mind is inventor. Or Plato. He was a philosopher. So all these famous names throughout history, there's a word that almost everybody will think of. You know, I could ask a room of 1,000 people on this, and most people will come up with the same word. It's almost like a magic trick where there's a canned response everybody's going to come up with. But why is that the response? You know, what is it about each one of those names that led you to that word? It certainly is no magic trick. It's kind of obvious, right? Beethoven spent his life composing music. He was known as a composer. Plato is known as a philosopher. That's who they are. It certainly isn't any trick or anything like that. You're describing this person is this kind of person, right? Shakespeare is a playwright. Da Vinci is an inventor, and other things. So this is where it gets fun, and we'll make it more personal to you. You know, as I list those names, almost everybody comes up with the same words. But what if we bring it a little bit more personal to you? Now, what if you were to think of your father? What's the one word that comes to mind? What if you were to think of your mother? What's the one word that comes to mind? Now, whatever that is, it's obviously significant and unique to you. I couldn't say what that is. But here's where it gets even more personal. What if I say your name? What is the one word that comes to mind to you, and also the one word that you think would come to mind to everyone who knows you, right? We say Beethoven, everybody comes up with composer. We say Da Vinci, everybody comes up with inventor. Well, what if we say your name? What is the word that everybody will come up with that describes you as who you are? Now, this becomes a pretty challenging question, actually, when you think about it. It's one of those opportunities to step back and kind of examine your own life from a distance and take a look at where you really are right now. What have you accomplished? Who have you impacted on your journey so far? And when you do this, sometimes it can be humbling. Sometimes it can be scary. Sometimes it can be depressing. Sometimes it could be joyous. You know, sometimes the word that pops to mind right away might be glorious. You know, everybody might think of you as awesome. You know, maybe you're literally the greatest person on the planet, and that's what everybody would say. Well, cool. Other than that one guy or girl, I'm talking about the rest of us here. So when you think of your life like this right now, what is that word? You know, when you step back and when you look at your life, what is that word? Now, whatever it happens to be right now, and if you can't even come up with one, that's okay. Most people actually can't. Most people have a really hard time with this challenge. They will just describe themselves in general terms. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a father, I'm a husband, you know, all those things are great, but there's still not one word. This is common. Don't feel bad, you know, don't worry about it if you can't come up with a singular word that describes you, but you can use this as an exercise moving forward. In other words, what I mean by that is, what word do you want to describe you? When people are thinking about you, what is the one word that you want them to think of? You have a lot of impact on that. In fact, you have all of the impact on that. You're the person that dictates actually what that word is going to be, in how you live and how you act and how you treat other people, in the career that you're pursuing, in the way that you're being a parent, in the way that you're being a child, in the way that you're interacting with everybody around you. You're the one that gets to control what that word is going to be. Now, obviously, when we think about the great historical names like I mentioned, we're primarily talking about their career, about their vocation, and that's fine, that's okay. But life is bigger than that. You're more than just your job. In fact, if you were just your job, it's not a very fulfilling life. You know, we're not saying that Beethoven was happy because he was a composer. We're not saying that Van Gogh was happy because he was an artist, and if you know history, you know that wasn't true. But that's the way that they're known. They have this word association. What I want you to do is I want you to think of what is the word that's going to apply to you for the rest of your life, and if that's too daunting, think about what's the word that you want to have apply to you for the next year. And then what do you have to do to fulfill that role? If you've decided that the word that you would like to describe you is joyful, what do you have to do to make that happen? If you've decided that the word that you want to have apply to you, which is obviously relevant to the work I do, is significant, well, what does that mean to you? How are you going to make that happen? So figure out what that word is, and then take small steps every single day. Take actions every single day in your interactions with everybody that you meet to make sure that you're living up to your own standard, that you're living up to whatever the word is that you want associated with you. So in the future, when we're playing this word association game and somebody says your name, everybody's going to come up with the same answer, and it's going to be awesome. All right, so thanks for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and leave me a comment below. I always like to read what people are thinking about. And if you know someone else who would like this, please go ahead and share it with them. So until next time, thanks for watching.